Not only did JB Bickerstaff have comments after the game, Joel Embiid also had comments after the game on Sunday. When Joel was asked about what it will mean for him if he doesn't win the MVP, he was quoted as saying, "If it doesn't happen, I don't know what I have to do. I feel like they hate me. I feel like the standard for guys in Philly or for me is different than everyone else." So, Eric, being a former 76ers point guard, do you feel like the national media has a different standard for Philadelphia players, or is it just Embiid and him being a part of the process?
I'm not sure. I don't think they have a different standard for Sixers players. I mean, I was there when a Sixer player won the MVP. I just think you have a criteria issue. You have so many different voters that think differently. You see it differently, and there's no set criteria. So I don't have I hope he can win it, but I'm not certain. I just think that with Giannis and Jokic and Joel, I just think it's going to be a very close race, and those votes are going to split. It's going to come down to who gets the most first place. You may have some people that get first place and get fourth place by someone else. So I think it's going to be really, really close. And I just think the fact that you got 3 or 4 guys that's really, really fighting, you never know how people are rating them. They may like one of them at number 1, but who do they like at 2? Who do they like at 3? Or do somebody else, jump in that top 3? I think it's going to come down to the second place, third place votes as well, getting guys more points. And because I can't say that one guy's going to dominate the number 1 vote. I just don't see how they can do it without a criteria, because I've talked to so many people and seen a lot of people, and it's like unanimous of how different people see it. Like, I have not had anyone say, yes, it's a lock that Joel's going to get it. If anyone was a lock, I've heard more people say, Jokic will get it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because at each poll, straw vote, it was different each time. It was a different number 1 each time. So it's just like right now, like what is the criteria that, because when Russell Westbrook won the MVP and his team wasn't a top 4 seed, it was an issue because of where his team was ranked. But now it's not an issue where a team is ranked. It's just like, just wondering, like, what is it all about?
Yeah.
Because, you say stats and stats matter, but we had a guy win MVP with stats, and then they say he was stat padded. Like, it's really confusing on the voting, and we don't really know how people vote. So it could be personal, who they like personally. Like, I think it's a little flawed. So you just never know.
When it's so skewed like that, does it just become a popularity contest at that point? Like, who you know what? It's so close. I just like Jokic better.
I mean, it's a popularity and, familiar. I mean, someone that sees a player, maybe he's on the West Coast, or he sees a certain player in person more than another player. Mm-hmm. He's going to feel a certain way maybe about that guy, or who talks to him more. Like, I don't know. That's just from a media standpoint. Other players or whoever gets voted. I don't even know who does all the voting, but I'm just saying from a standpoint of it's so close. I think you got to really, really watch a lot of games to really get a feel for it. And I don't know if that's the case. I can't say I don't think. I just don't know if that's the case. If people are truly into right now with so many games, just watching those particular players each game. And not necessarily a national TV game, but you got to really be digested into what they're doing, because you can't just look at box scores or look at stats in this particular vote. And I think when you're voting for your top 5, it's if winning matters, then a guy like Devin Booker should be in there.
Yeah.
If winning isn't as important is not that important, then you'll pull somebody up to maybe just a 6 seed with a 6 or 7 seed with players out. I don't know.
Do you think winning one in the past? I would like to see
Joel get it, but I do not have I can't say I don't have a bad feeling, but I have I don't know feeling.
Do you think winning an MVP in the past works for or against you at all, or doesn't matter?
Oh, I think it works against you.
You think it works against you to already have one?
Yes. Especially if you've had in Giannis' case, you've had multiple.
And then Jokic
because if you can correct me if I'm right, but I believe Giannis's numbers this year may even be better than they were previously.
Yeah.
Certain numbers aren't. I believe his turnovers are up. I think his free throw percentage is up. I think his points are up.
Yeah. So I mean, he in some ways he's better. And if you watch him play, right, what you see with your eyes, you see a better player.
Yeah.
What I see, you know what I'm saying? So I see a better player now than then.
That would work for him though, right? Because they're like, oh, we gave it to him when he was.
I'm just saying, you would think it does, but the fact that he's sort of that MVP fatigue because he's already won, the hype isn't really there.
Yeah,
and that's when you had Coach Malone talking about Jokic should be the clear MVP, but since he won MVP last year, nobody's not talking about it. That's sort of the MVP fatigue. So, but should that be knocked? And then a guy that like Joel that never won it, should the hype be there? And that's why it's kind of interesting that you don't, like in the past, winning seemed to always be a part of it.
A bigger part of it.
Because it's not always the best player. It's just who was particularly that MVP that year, but it's maybe not the best particular player in the league, or another player may be better, but who's most valuable? How you see it? Most valuable player to a team, best player. How would you vote?
It's strange because Embiid and Jokic it was pretty close last year, but the thing that they gave it to Jokic, and I remember hearing analysts, I don't know what they actually did in the end, but they said a lot of it was the amount of time Joel missed. That was like the biggest thing that worked against him. Jokic did it, but he's available every night. He's available every night. But
that was the reason why I felt he wouldn't get it, because of the time that he missed last year.
But he's already played more games this year than he did last year, so we can scratch that off the list, right? So he played, and his stats are better. Like he's up 1 rebound, he's up 2 points, he's up 2 assists, he has more steals and blocks, same amount of turnovers, and playing more minutes and playing every night. So if a guy who almost won last year, who got rid of his own negative aspect, which was games played, and he's up almost every single statistic, and he dealt with the Ben Simmons thing. Like, I just don't I'm probably thinking what he's thinking. It's like, I mean, dude, like what the hell can I do here? Like, I don't get it. I don't think anyone else dealt with the amount of drama we dealt with as a team, and he held it together and played even better. And we played almost just the same as we did last year as far as our standing. We're right there. And that stat that everyone keeps talking about with the 40 points and 10 rebound games, only 2 people in the history have done it more than him in the season, Moses Malone and Westbrook. Shocker, they both won MVP those years. Yeah. So it's just, man, it's hard. I mean, as a Philly aspect, to what he's saying, I'm personally not a fan. I know, Marcus, you're not either. We're not a fan of all Philly sports. We're just Sixer fans. Don't hate us. But it's weird when you're a Sixer fan, you get exposed to a kind of like the overall Philly hate that, the players and the fans feel like they get from national media and national fans. So I do understand that a little bit. I feel that, even though I'm not fully involved with the Philly sports, just Sixers. So maybe he's talking about that, or, I mean, the process was hated by a lot of people, and a lot of those people do have votes. They always kind of like, always talks about it. Stan Van Gundy always talks about it, about being very anti the process, and you can still hear it in his voice. He's still very anti like us winning, because no one likes being wrong, right? So if we ever do win with this current, Embiid era, the process did work. And a lot of people have to eat crow and say, all right, I was wrong, but they don't want to do that. So I almost feel like a part of them wants to keep it down, so they don't have to.
I mean, like with the process, I don't necessarily see it like that as far as the process, because I think that a lot was gained, but a lot was lost.
Yeah.
You from that quote unquote process, who's left over?
It's pretty much, I mean, Joel.
Yeah, so
he is the process.
So I think it's a totally different time and totally different players. I just think it was a situation to get picks, but most of those guys aren't there.
Yeah.
I think if Ben was still there, you can kind of say, yeah, you got 2 all-stars that are there, top picks, and you don't really get those consecutively like that. But
I guess you can make an argument and say Maxey, we got him through like process, like trading in picks and whatnot. He kind of came in, but he's not true.
Yeah, I mean, but you can also see, he wasn't like a top pick.
No, that's true.
I think that when people are looking at that, they're looking at, you're not going to tank for a later pick. Is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Sort of quote unquote tanking to get top picks and all of that. So who's left from that is just Joel.
Yep.
I mean, you had draft picks and stuff like that you were able to move and get pieces, but I think the way they are now, that could have taken place without a lot of the quote unquote process taking place.
Yeah, and the process way of doing things is so accepted now. It's not it's crazy you say times have changed in those 5, 6, 7 years. But look, Sam Presti's praised for doing the same thing the Sixers did, which is just benching players who can help you win, get more picks, and tank and take on bad contracts for money and picks. So a lot's changed in those years.
Yeah.
Collecting assets. I was going to say one more thing about the whole Embiid situation. I did want to ask this because I was watching Undisputed, and Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp said that with Joel making those comments that if he doesn't win, that the media hates him. Does that work against him? They're saying he can kiss the MVP goodbye after saying a quote like that. Would that work against him in a way, or you don't think that would even phase them?
I don't think it helps people like him. Yeah. I would think that they're professional enough to still do their job and pick who they honestly think is the MVP. But I don't think it necessarily helps them.
Yeah, Bill Simmons and Russillo were saying yesterday on their show that they can't stand the lobbying for votes. They think it totally works against them. It makes them not like the player. And they say pretty much, it's like telling me I'm an idiot.
I don't think it helps them at all.
Yeah, it's like telling me I'm an idiot and I don't know who to pick. Like I need you to tell me who to pick. I don't do it. It's not working. It's not helping you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, talk about media. I think the media overall likes Embiid. He's a fun guy. Everyone's always talking about anything he does, whether it's Twitter in the past or anything. He's always a topic of some sort. They love him. He's a more marketable player than Jokic and Giannis. I mean, he's got with the Hulu, he's got Coke commercials. He's got more going on than the other guys do. So, I wouldn't say he is hated by the media. I think that's a different kind of narrative to put out there. So I hope.
Yeah, I don't think he's hated by media.
Yeah, I hope it's not impacting his vote. So we'll see. We have a good stretch run of not the best teams, but outside of Toronto, the teams we play over the next 4 games aren't the best teams. So he could pad his stats and get back up in that conversation, take out Jokic. Yep. So we'll see.